Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going deep on something pretty fascinating. We're calling it the Anatomy of Overflow. It's all about a process for getting from a place of not enough to more than enough.
So let's just start with a really big question. What if abundance, having more than enough, what if it isn't just random? What if it isn't just a stroke of luck, but it actually follows a blueprint, a predictable path you can follow?
The way this is described is as the anatomy of overflow. And that word, anatomy, is just perfect, right? Because anatomy literally means to cut up or dissect. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to dissect this whole process, piece by piece, to really understand how it works.
Okay, let's jump into the very first part of this blueprint. And it all begins with something that happens completely inside your head. It's vision. We're talking about the ability to see a future before it even exists, to literally paint a picture of a totally different reality.
Think of this like a chain reaction, a vision chain. It's this step-by-step flow that shows exactly how our inner world actually creates our outer world. See, it all starts with what you focus on. Then that focus becomes a feeling, an image deep in your heart. Pretty soon, that feeling starts to change the very words you speak. And those words, they create the whole atmosphere of your life, which eventually becomes the reality you actually live in. It's a straight line from thought to reality.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It basically says that your imagination isn't just for daydreaming, it's the ticket to the show. You simply cannot be a part of a future that you haven't first pictured in your mind.
And to really get our heads around this, there's this incredible ancient story about Abraham. It shows us two totally different ways of seeing the future. And the difference between them is everything. Okay, and this is where it gets really, really cool. There are two ancient Hebrew words for seeing. The first one is nazah. Now think of this like a horizontal look. You're just looking around, scanning your current situation, what's right there in front of you. But the second word is nabat, and this is a vertical gaze. This is looking up beyond your circumstances and contemplating what could be, like gazing at the stars. One is just observation, the other is contemplation.
So why does this vertical gaze matter so much? Well, it's a total game changer. It shifts you from just passively looking at your life to actively building a real belief in a different one. And it's that deep, anchored belief that can carry you through, especially when everything around you seems to scream the opposite of the future you're picturing.
Okay, so you've got the vision locked in. What's next? Well, the next piece of this blueprint is expectation. And we're not talking about just passively hoping for the best. This is about an active force, like an invisible rope connecting you to the future you want.
You know what's fascinating is the original Hebrew word for expectation, tikva. It literally means a cord or a rope. So think about that. Expectation isn't just wishful thinking. It's an active connector. It's like you're holding a rope and you're actively pulling that future closer to you.
And this is illustrated with this amazing ancient saying. It captures the idea of active expectation perfectly. It's about preparation. It means you actually start building the infrastructure for the abundance you're expecting, even when there's absolutely no physical sign that it's coming.
So what does digging your ditches actually look like in our world? Well, it might be the startup founder buying more server space before the website goes viral, or registering the company name before that huge contract is signed. It's all about creating the capacity for the overflow you're expecting. So we have the vision, we have the expectation, now it's time for the third and you could say the final piece of the puzzle, preparation. This is where it all becomes real. This is where you turn all that vision and expectation into actual concrete action. And to see how this works, we turn to another ancient story, and this one starts from rock bottom. We have a widow who's facing absolutely crushing debt, and her creditors are coming to take her 2 sons as payment. I mean, it doesn't get much more desperate than that. So, what did she have to work with? Practically nothing. Just a single, small jar of oil. That's it. A resource so small it seemed completely insignificant next to the mountain of a problem she was facing.
Now listen to the instructions she got. It's not what you'd expect. The advice wasn't to go find more oil. No, it was to radically increase her capacity to hold it. The instruction was, go gather empty vessels, and don't just get a few, get as many as you can possibly find.
So here was her action plan, a simple 4-step process. Step 1, build the capacity. Go get the containers. Step 2, and this is so important, she was told to shut the door. This is all about eliminating doubt, shutting out the negativity and the what-ifs. Step 3, take action. Start pouring the oil. And finally, step 4, monetize the overflow, sell the surplus oil, and solve the problem.
And here is the absolute mind-blowing part of the story. The miracle wasn't in the jar itself. It happened in the pouring. The oil multiplied as she was giving it away, filling one jar after another, and it kept flowing until every single empty vessel she had gathered was full. The supply only stopped when her capacity ran out.
And that right there brings us to the ultimate takeaway, the core principle that ties vision, expectation, and preparation all together. Here it is, the central idea of this whole blueprint. The supply, whether you think of as resources or opportunity or creativity, is infinite. But our capacity to receive it, that's not. The bottleneck isn't on the supply side. The limit is on our side. It's our preparation. And here's the kicker. The goal wasn't just to get the widow back to zero. Sure, the overflow paid off all her debt, but it also provided enough for her and her sons to live on. See, the process isn't just designed to get you out of a hole. It's designed to move you from a negative, past zero, and into a positive, abundant state.
So, let's wrap this up with a question directly for you. If it's true that your capacity sets the limit for your overflow, what empty jars do you need to start gathering in your own life? What capacity are you building today for the future that you envision?